Yes.
There's not. It's great fun.
So,
I'll get him out of the building, when you think about power, or you can right
Yeah,
now.
we've got, bigger in the circle, we're actually room it up now. for the-
yeah,
it's gotta
so
be-
what we do is,
Get it for 10 more.
That's fine.
I'll just do it every
I'll make sure
week.
you send it back.
We're special care session. And now, at the Southeast of Mexico, she's
Senior citizens.
it's the association.
Okay.
One of my teachers last week.
I'll be back.
I don't know anything. Chief, I mean,
Are you doing?
What are you? I mean, so much, okay.
you get everybody in?
I left you. I'm sorry. I like them both.
Usually, in the post office here.
But it wasn't the police.
I made an extra copy.
Are you leaving one or two on the post office? I sent them in an email.
Are you good for
No, there's your It just has one name.
Yeah, it did. Claire said that she probably gets tired of getting all this stuff. She just keep That's how Miss Shannon was, and so she had to change it. She was doing some stuff.
You need to leave one here. You can buy them right there at Allsup's sometimes.
Can you buy it? I know you
No,
can get a dog.
that's just like mine right here, you know, I need three, one for my truck, one from the side of my bed, and one.
I lost the one in my truck, that's usually one I bring.
I let you wear mine.
Well, then I was
Are they
thinking,
prescription?
sometimes I don't say.
Are they cheaters?
Prescription.
Oh, I don't have them, I just need some, you know.
Too bad I don't have them safety glasses, you know, the ones that have the readers on it.
Because I keep these.
There's some safety glasses that have readers on them.
Wow.
You need to buy you some of them, that way you got a whole box. They're cheap, man, they're cheap.
I have to remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
That way I
I'll try to
trip
get
over
you some.
stuff.
I'll try to get you some. Oh, order.
You're up?
I've got two
Sure.
birds.
Let's go with that. Okay. Works for me.
The other one, this is director.
This is I too.
Just took me 20 minutes to get from the parking lot to in here.
Yeah, it seemed like you were a captive audience, like somebody had you pinned between the door and the truck.
Yeah,
You had no escape route. Yeah.
There was two of us.
Oh, I only saw
Walked
one.
right, well, I know, walked away from one right into another.
Yeah. Happens simple, right?
For each fiscal year. It does.
No. No, because you're sitting there.
That's why I didn't come.
Wouldn't surprise me none. Just a little. Contacted earlier. So, I mean, to my knowledge. Well, that's not her. Well, yeah. Okay, that's true too.
Yeah. How are you gentlemen? Ready to go? Okay, I'll wait. Get another tour.
We gotta remove an item. Renew
Janitorial one?
I think she's told Scott. Yeah, so we've got to amend it.
Okay.
We're gonna amend
Do you know about amending?
Yes,
Okay.
that was clarifying in my notes that I was given.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, I'll drop the bomb on you here in a minute, so you guys don't know.
I almost forgot, they told me about, where they had asked questions about it, and I asked them, and then answered them.
Crystal and that lady's name is? Okay. Oh, her assistant. No.
Oh, that way? I don't know.
I know well. We ready? Good.
I like it better than me.
I call this regular session of the Lovington City Commission to order. Shannon, roll call, please.
Mayor Roberts,
Here.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Bowe,
Here.
and the minutes will show that Commissioner White is not present.
Okay. All right. If you'll join me in the invocation. Father God, we just thank you for a beautiful day. Father, we thank you for the rain that you have sent to enrich our community. We just ask that you continue to, at your disposal, please send some more. Father, we just thank you for our community. Through the celebration that we had yesterday for the mothers in our community, Father, we know that you give life, but they bear it. And for that, we hold them in a special place in our heart. And Father, we just ask that you provide a blessing on them throughout the next few days. Father, we ask that you impart wisdom in our decisions and thought in our actions as we proceed through this meeting this evening. Pray that you will guide and instruct us on the best way to handle the issues that are before us. Father, we thank you for the opportunity to provide for our citizens to the best of our ability. We ask that you be with this meeting tonight and bless all that are here. Through Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the sea symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. You may be seated. Well, hello.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one removal, the non-action item on the Magistrate Court janitorial contract. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the approval of the agenda with this removal. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the consideration of minutes of April 28th, 2025 and May 7th, 2025.
Okay, we have a motion second for the consideration and adoption of the minutes. Any discussions, corrections, or additions? Hearing none. Shannon?
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
All right. This brings us to our Commissioner Staff report. Now, Shannon, do you have anything this evening?
Yes, I put this at your stations here, and these are health insurance rates that are going up this year. We, Veronica Neveretti, the HR director, and Mr. Miranda and I met with Rob Golden, and they're going up about 10.6%. And we have decided, they now have, United Health now has dental. So we've looked at their plan and have decided to go with that. And for about the same amount that we were paying before with Delta Dental, you have a higher maximum payout from them. And there's 3 different plans that the employee can choose from. Each for a few dollars more, you can have a higher maximum on that. This was based on 1,500, that the sheet that I gave you. So, and we got a 2% discount for going with their dental. About the same providers with this plan as was with Delta Dental. So we think it will be a good move. And that's all I have.
Any questions? I'm sure there are, but not without going through it first. Have we adopted it, or are we going to put it in, are we moving forward, or?
We moved forward, we had to make a commitment to go ahead
Okay,
with it.
thank you. Anything further?
No, sir.
Isabel?
I don't have anything.
Nothing this evening. All right.
Chief?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. We had 6 total vehicles damaged to the hail that are going through the process of getting fixed. We also had, on Friday, 3 uncertified go through the physical fitness portion of the hiring process. 2 passed, so they'll be moving on to the next phase. And we have 1 certified officer, Josh Morales, will start on June the 2nd. Our police officer awning and our emergency building bids will probably be rewarded in the next couple weeks. So I'm excited to get that started. Our record personnel, Amanda Addison, went to Carlsbad on May the 3rd for New Mexico Special Olympics on Area 4 Summer Games. Should have, probably had a picture of that, but state games will be held this year, May the 30th through June the 1st in Albuquerque. And then this year's torch run will be conducted here in Lovington. That'll go to Artesia on May the 20th. If anybody that wants to run or walk with the kids, it starts at 7:45 at Pueblito's Meat Market, the old Wells Fargo parking lot. We'll take some pictures and encourage the local Special Olympic athletes. And one further is the Lovington Police did finalize the contract on our enterprise fleet contract. So I have one more meeting on Thursday, and then everything will start moving a lot quicker after that. And then had the game warden come in today, and we had a pretty good conversation with him about the UTVs and ATVs and stuff like that running on our streets. And he's going to set up, because he's an instructor in that, set up instruction for us. And I'm going to invite motor vehicle, see if they want to come in on the training to see if on the updated new laws and what the state and local stuff going on. And they want to come in, they want to do an operation, because we have so many off-road vehicles, and see if we can get them rounded up. And they also have state funding for sort of like how we do the STEPS programs. They got funding to pay officers off duty to come in and look for those type of vehicles on our streets. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Questions, Commissioner? The game wardens are instituting this?
Oh, that's what they do off-road, but they're
Right.
instructors in that. It's like Carlsbad, they're like 200, they have to deal with 200 of them a week. And they track, I guess it's state law, they have to track all off-road vehicle accidents through the state, and they have more off-road vehicle accidents with vehicles or semi-trucks. They just had a fatality, I think in Carlsbad, where a vehicle hit a UTV and they had 2 people died, 2 kids.
Well, I had a near miss yesterday. I was traveling down Stiles, and a ATV, UTV, whatever they are, with 3 youngsters that were not anywhere close, slid up to the street just as I got there. I was like, that's why I'm not just hip on this.
Exactly.
Anyway, I know that's, oh, I had one question. What day was the torch run? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the date.
20th at 7:45.
May?
Yes.
We don't have to run if we show up, right?
No, you know,
You can drop your duty.
Well, you 2 fat boys couldn't make it anyway.
Not even often, my friend.
That's right.
Know my limitations.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none. Fire chief.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, so we still have one position open. We're going to continue to advertise. We have 7 students that are finishing up their basic class and 1 that's finishing his intermediate. We are starting Fire Academy on May the 19th. We're going to have 8 to 9 cadets in that academy, which if we had 9, that'll be the biggest academy the Lovington Fire has ever had. We've had 8, but we've never had 9. The new grass truck it's progressing. We're hoping to have a delivery of the truck by the end of May. And the truck was purchased through the capital outlay. So our numbers for April are as follows. Total EMS was 257 calls. We had 61 interfacility transfers, 69 cancel or refusal DOA, 14 airport, 12 Tatum. We've seen 6 paramedicine patients and 24 fire calls. That's all I have at this time. Staff, any questions?
Commissioners. Here. Thank you, Fire Chief. Commissioner Bolt.
Again, thank you all for being here. This past weekend, went up to the DFA training in Clovis, and it was a lot of information. I would recommend that we see about our finance department, possibly being able to get some of that training. I know they have a class, I wrote it down here, July 23rd. It's a Wednesday. It's in Roswell. They talked about a lot of things as far as funding, where funding goes, where it should go, developing ICIP lists, a lot of very, very good information. I see there's a booklet here on the table, in front of us, Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan Guidelines. It's a lot of information. I would recommend, again, that we see about going there.
Yes, sir.
Getting some people, commissioners, if you can make it, that'd be great,
May?
What's that, July?
July. All right, thank you.
July 23rd, it's a Wednesday.
No, I'm not going to mention it.
I had a question I asked on Main Street. I don't know who I should be asking this to, David or Crystal. Between the library and the Edward Jones building, the alley there, I know we got some equipment there. Seen a car parked right in there the other day. Are we supposed to be blocking that off? So I thought that was part of our agreement with the...
So they built the curb there, so there was no longer access to drive into that alley. So I know during the theater opening, I know like the caterer and stuff, he had backed up into that area, but didn't go out between the electrical things. He just backed up in there to unload stuff in the back doors. But no, there shouldn't be people trying to drive through that area.
Are we gonna put a barrier up
We
there?
want to put up some type of barrier. I know Main Street was going to look into something, some kind of beautification bench or something they could build there. But I know they've been busy with their other projects right now. But yes, that is something we intend to do. We do have all that historical brick that was saved that we could possibly build even like some planters or something with, or even just a stem wall with them to use some of those bricks that we have. There's several ideas that we have to go
Yeah.
forward with that.
Hate to see somebody just plow in there not knowing.
They hit those electrical boxes were in
Right.
sad shape.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
And there's a very large grate in that alley, and actually, a small child's foot would fit right through it. So I have asked DOT about changing that grate out because it is now a pedestrian alleyway instead of a drive alleyway. They said they're too late in this project, but they did give me a contact to try to get that changed out because I don't want to see somebody falling down in there. It's very large grate.
Yeah,
If
you got
walk it,
Storybook
it's-
Park there with the kids
It'd be
over there. so-
extremely hazardous for somebody walking through there, yeah.
Okay,
So we need to get something done with that too, and I'm working on that.
okay. Thank you. Other than that, eat local, buy local, shop local, help out our businesses, our local businesses, and our local economy. What's that?
Watch the movie.
And watch the movie local.
There you go.
Yes, yes, please, please. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, appreciate it. Commissioner Trio?
Yeah, I only have one item. Chris, I don't know if they had asked you about the painting the theater, in front of the theater, where the fire
Lane?
zone areas, yeah, that they asked, I don't know if you spread that to Dave. I mean, the night of the theater, they were asking about that. To repaint that and put fire zone or something like that.
It is painted red, they're not supposed to park in front of the theater.
Oh, okay, they just
So
filled.
if we have an issue, we can call PD and they can come cite them and make them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they said since it was the same color as the brick on top, that's what they were saying, it probably needs to be a little redder. That was Chuck's.
We might
So
talk to
Chuck said
Streets
that.
about repainting it red.
Yeah, because I think it's the same color as the brick, I think that's what it was.
Okay.
And I think that's what his thing was about, is because they may think it's part of the brick.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner White? Commissioner Gaines?
I'm doing something, but I have misplaced it in my filing cabinet between my ears. As soon as I figure out what I did with it, I'll bring it back up.
Bring it back. Interject it back up. All right, sounds good. City Manager?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I have no staff comments tonight. I have a lot of things on the agenda, but I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Questions? Hearing none yet. Ms. Ball?
Jackson project has been held up because of all the rain. And there you go, praying for more rain.
I'll take it any day of the
I
week.
know, but I mean, it has been a swamp, so we kind of, that project's having some rain days added to it because it is definitely stalled out. There's some clay underneath that is holding that moisture really badly. So hopefully we can get that back going soon. Otherwise, they're trying to finish up Main, and we're on back to the intersection where they're tearing up what they just built because, the engineers decided to redesign it a little bit. But hopefully that'll be over soon, and as soon as that's over, then we'll be able to set those lights and the project will be done.
Sounds good.
Have you liked the landscaping?
Landscaping looks really good. I primarily saw in front of the theater the other night. I thought that was a really nice addition up there. Various places.
Any questions for me?
Questions?
We're swamped with roof permits, so we're saying.
Yes.
I'm glad I have a coordinator working with me now because there's a lot.
So that does bring up something that, whatever. So do we advertise the contractors that are approved by chance?
I have not.
I was just curious because that would be something that I thought that,
They're on the website.
they are on the website, the contractors that have been approved or have
The ones that have their business license.
That's what, okay.
Yes.
We try to update it to reflect the new contractors who've come in and got.
Okay, now I was just a question, just something,
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a list they're keeping up with.
Okay, well, I just didn't know if that was something that people
For the
could
benefit of the
easily
public.
access, yes, okay, that's all I was curious about. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Counselor?
Mayor and Commissioners, don't have anything new, probably a few comments about a couple of the agenda items, but I'd be happy to stay for any questions if you have any.
Questions?
Did you tell Kevin to get a haircut, is that why?
That was actually my water clerks that forced me to get a haircut.
That was not my recommendation.
Oh,
I have to keep up with it, otherwise I get kicked out, so no gambling.
All right. At this time, I'm going to ask that Representative Pettigrew come forward. We had a discussion. We've been trying to get a legislative update. I know it's been a while, but I asked him to pick some highlights and inform us today. We appreciate it. Representative?
Mayor, Commission, staff, I appreciate the opportunity to do it. Robbie asked me to keep it less than an hour, so I brought this much.
Significantly. Oh, I'm sorry.
He said less than an hour, and I didn't.
I was just looking to see if I was gonna make supper tonight.
Well, probably not, no. Seriously, I'm gonna do my preferred way, and if it changes from y'all's perspective, let me know. My preferred way is questions. I'm gonna give you a few details, and then throw out questions, and if there aren't any, I can give you more details, and maybe that'll cue some. We had 1,190 bills, memorials, joint memorials, resolutions, introduced. 195 of them made to the governor's desk, 160 of them were signed. So 35 of them, she did something that somebody didn't like with. And we dealt with mostly things that we should have never dealt with. And people ask me, or they tell me, you did a great job stopping some legislation that hurts. And that's what I say, we should have never dealt with that. Lee County, Eddy County produces the majority of the revenue for the general fund. And that comes from oil and gas. There were 23 attempts to regulate and stop oil and gas production in the state in some version. The only one that passed that was relative really was the one on royalty rates. We went in the premium production areas from 20% to 25% royalty rates. And the state of New Mexico says that, that's comparable to Texas. Well, it's really not, because the state of New Mexico deals with the state fee, and the state of Texas, most of that is owned land, is fee land. Somebody owns that fee simple land. And so they're not comparable in any form or fashion. The state of Mexico has requirements when you take a lease that you build certain infrastructure that goes along with it. That doesn't happen on the Texas side. Those are discussions and those are debates that happen with those landowners. So at the end of the day, when the state land commissioner didn't get her way in 2024, she put out an order that we're not going to do anything on that on that state land. And she held it this year. If anybody was bored and listened to House Appropriations when I called her a 2-year-old for acting that way, she didn't get her way. She bowed her head and she put that out. They managed to get it through this year. That was their 6th attempt, and they finally got it through. The downside to that is, for most of us that understand the oil and gas industry, the majors don't play with exploration. The majors come in and buy out something that's good. And what they did is they picked the winners with respect to this, because it's only the majors that can play with that. And I'm not saying anything bad about the major oil and gas companies, I'm just saying that that was another hit to small business, to independent business. That's all it was driven that way. And they have the ability to reduce that when nobody bids on the work, which will be the majority of the people out there, unless a major really wants to come in. And we've had a $7 drop in oil and gas, or on the oil side. Right now, the impact on that's probably close to $500 million on our state budget if it stays that way for the whole year. So our 2025, 2026 budget is based on $67 a barrel. If we stay in the 58 to 61, which is where we've been recently, it's going to have a huge negative impact. From other decisions that were made, and I could go through a plethora of them. I'll give you one example. A bill was passed and signed that makes non-residents able to join law enforcement. The rulemaking is going to be interesting on this because the discussion and the debate that we had on the House floor and some of the discussion and debate in the Senate and Senate floor rotated around the fact that how do you give somebody that's not federally allowed to carry a gun the ability to carry a gun? And their concept is that, well, they have to check their gun in at the end of the day. Yeah. Rulemaking is going to be interesting on this one. And we made a multitude of decisions this year. And when I say we, you can rest assured that I'm not one of the people that voted for it. But the other side of it is it did make it to the governor's desk and it passed. So I'm one of 112. So we're going to have some issues with respect to, I had an interview earlier today. They said, well, what do you think is going to happen with the special session on crime? And what do you think is going to happen with the special session with respect to budget? And if our governor and our state attorney general continues to push the buttons the way that they're pushing, I see the strong potential for a budget session, a rebudgeting session in September, October timeframe. Just because we're violating so many federal laws on immigration, it's not even funny. And on so many other aspects, from healthcare to everything else. What we're doing, and I'm not going to say this, well, let me say it this way. We don't make a decision, and when I say we, one of the 112, we don't make a decision in the state legislature with respect to finances that doesn't include how much money do we get from somebody else. So if I put a quarter in, I got to make sure I'm getting my 75 cents or whatever the number is from the federal government. All of those decisions that we've made over the last 5 years are going to come back and bite us if we continue to push buttons against the current administration. I don't care whether you like the current administration or you don't like it. It's still going to bite us. And so we did a whole bunch of stuff. It's disappointing to me as a state legislator. This is the first year I've not had House Bill Junior money. This will be the first year, this session is the first year I haven't been able to help out the senior center. We had, from 2 years ago, they redirected a lot of the money that came from oil and gas revenue from House Bill 2, Senate Bill 26, and Senate Bill 378 into different pockets of money, trying to show that oil and gas revenue is not where it should be. We actually introduced last year probably an extra $13.5–14 billion in revenue above budget expectations to the state coffers. Last August, we redefined the concept of new money. We used to define new money as, this is our current budget year, this is next budget year, and the difference between what we brought in as revenue versus what we budgeted for the next year is new money. Anything plus or minus. Minus money, plus money, new money. Or a lack of new money. So that was redefined to where it included non-reoccurring funding. So last August in the Mescalera, the end of the Mountain Gods, where our meeting was at, all of a sudden, $3.5 billion was gone. We had $659 million in new money. I asked a whole bunch of questions. I got in a whole bunch of trouble by both sides of the aisle. My Republican side and my Democrat side. The Democrat side because I asked questions that nobody should ask. When we started House appropriations this year, I figured out where the $3.5 billion went. It all went to non-reoccurring social projects. I want to be crystal clear. Over the last 5.5 years since this administration has taken place, we've spent an additional $75 billion from the budget that she took over, which is south of $6 billion, to the budget that we're fixing to have, which is just shy of $11 billion, and the non-reoccurring funding. This last year, we spent over $3 billion in non-reoccurring funding for projects that have no guardrails. That's me giving any one of you money and saying, hey, go spend it, and we're not going to track whether or not the project works. If it's good for the community. We have no clue. So, and I will tell you the problem that I see moving forward is we're continuing that spend rate. And we're coming up with ways. Now, our legislative finance director is telling us that we've got to start looking at certain aspects of how our spend rate is going to be so that we can control that. And he'll tell you that we funneled the money into different trust accounts and different accounts to where we're secure. It's a lie. This year, Senate Bill 1, 2, and 3, behavioral health, would have, in its initial format, taken $1 billion of the $3 billion we have in reserves and dedicated it for all the interest that that $1 billion creates for nothing but behavioral health. So it's not taking that investment, which we should be doing. The $3 billion plus the State Investment Council is investing as part of their $150 plus billion that they're managing. Trying to say this politically correct. And I'm not really good at that. Everybody in this room knows that. Instead of that, we're going to give that money to the behavioral health system, which has the same 6A, totally redefined now. Senate Bill 1, 2, and 3, completely redefined how behavioral health is going to work. And you guys are going to be part of the solution. And this is important. We're going to have regional behavioral health. We need to make sure Lovington is strong and loud in that.
Strong and what?
Loud.
Oh, okay.
With respect to that, because you're going to control it. Regional governments are going to control that money. But the same 6 agencies that we have given $2.5 billion to in the last 2.5 years that never moved the needle on behavioral health are still going to be in control. but we're gonna give you the fictional concept, like a school board, that you actually get to make decisions. Be cautious. Be conscious of that. So, we have some things that happened this year. You know, $16 million was the capital outlay for Lee County. It's funny, we provide well over 50% of the revenue, and we get a pittance with respect to the capital outlay projects that we have in Lee County. Lee County total capital outlay this year was $16 million. At the 11th hour, the governor threw in a $10 million appropriation for an abortion clinic in northern New Mexico. I debated that. I put an amendment on the floor. I debated that for over an hour, trying to get that pulled out. Because the math was actually wrong on their spreadsheet. It happened to be 10 million. It wasn't that 10 million, but that didn't matter. $10 million different. Let's make everything balanced. Let's just pull that out. They weren't willing to do that. And I actually got questioned by the chairman of the tax, and he said, you know, Representative, your math is wrong. And I said, you know, you can say a whole bunch of things about me, but you can't tell me my math is wrong. My math is not wrong. So I expected our capital outlay, which included some things for Lovington, to actually be vetoed by the governor. She didn't. So that's a plus. There'll be more money. Interesting bill, 2 bills. I'll just give you some dichotomy. We have a bill with respect to juvenile offenders first and second degree, depending on the complexity of the charge, that at the age of 21, their record is, they're released and their record is expunged. We have a follow-up bill, comes a week later, caregivers. And the importance of making sure we do good, solid background checks on caregivers. So say you're the grandson or granddaughter that committed a first or second degree felony, had your record expunged, now you apply to be a caregiver for your grandparents. There's no record of that. And they think it's okay. The dichotomy and the things that happen up there are bad. I ran several pieces of legislation, and I'll continue to push that, about transparency in government rulemaking. I think that if a department has a rule that didn't go through a legislative bill and statute that was chaptered, or if it differs from what the bill was, that rulemaking should come back to the state legislative body, and you should be able to see our votes on how, whether or not we agree with that. Didn't get any traction off that. Also didn't get any traction on the fact that we shouldn't be able to lie from the House floor or in committee. Nobody likes the perjury bill that I ran. Some things that will impact us over time, at the wrong time probably. IRBs were passed with a prevailing wage requirement. So private entities that come to you for an IRB, you in the county for an IRB, will now have to start paying prevailing wage. And so there are a bunch of things with respect to that. There were some pushes on strategic water supply. Some of those pushes were a good thing. There's some concepts. I ran a bill on natural gas as a clean fuel. The whole purpose of that was to be able to get us to a position where we could actually get through the ETA requirements of 2045. The governor's Transition Act. None of our stuff out there from solar, wind, geothermal creates the amount of energy or has the amount of battery storage to actually produce the very products that they need. So if you want a solar panel, it takes over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. If you want a wind arm, it takes over 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit to create those. None of those exist. None of those, there's not enough battery storage to put them in series to actually generate that amount of heat, energy to create that. So natural gas is the only solution we have because we have such a, with the current legislative body, we have such a negative relationship with nuclear. The two cleanest fuels that we have are nuclear and natural gas. We tried, I pushed. I got it through one committee, which is further than I've ever had it. So that was a win, but the chair of energy wouldn't allow that to happen. We have, funny, they ran a bill on lobbyists saying that, you know, if they're supporting the bill and they pay more than $50 for something, for dinner or whatever, they have to report that within a certain period of time. We ran an amendment to that for non-governmental organizations or nonprofits, because if you go through my records for the last 5 years, and I have them, anybody that comes to my office has to sign in to walk into my office. They can walk into my legislative assistant's office and then turn around and walk out without signing, but if you walk into my office, you're signing. I have 5 nonprofits for every 1 lobbyist that comes to see me. Our lobbyists aren't necessarily the problem. I'm not saying they're the solution, but they're not necessarily the problem. The nonprofits are the problem. Nonprofits pay for the majority of our legislative body to exist to begin with. So I could go on and on and on. I want you guys to ask questions, guys, gal. Ask questions, and I'll answer that. And if not, I'll happily sit back down and go have dinner.
Question. I have one. The current administration would like to dissolve basically oil production in the state of New Mexico. Read a nice little article last week, stated that southeastern New Mexico, which would be basically Eddy and Lee County was highlighted in the article, provided 49% of the total state budget. So we want to take that out. We want to basically, have to be politically correct, show the finger to the federal administration. How are we going to survive? How do they see us surviving fiscally, excuse me?
There is no solution out there to replace the oil and gas workers in New Mexico, much less Lee County alone. We're supposed to retrain them. We're supposed to use JTIP. We're supposed to use all those things for whatever new industries come out there. Understand that we are not able to compete on the national or the world market for AI centers right now. There were a couple of pieces of legislation that parts and pieces came through that we were able to get through, and most of those were run by some colleagues on the other side of the aisle that I supported because we needed those. Carbon capture with respect to defining, we didn't get the carbon capture that we need, but what we did get was a good definition now in statute on pore space. So we do have the ability to convert old wells into carbon capture systems. It's going to take some litigation to get there, or it's going to take some new legislation beyond the budget session. There is no solution. I will tell you that in my first 2 years decided on public school capital outlay, and I watched these graphs defined by David Abbey at the time, which was the director of LFC, that showed our revenue with oil and gas hitting a peak somewhere between 2030 and 2035, and then just boom, dropping out. And I kept asking David in committee, what do we do after that? How do we sustain that? And finally, I think he got tired of me asking the questions in public, and he pulled me into his office one day after committee, and he said, that's the reason why we're creating the different trusts. That's the reason why early childhood is at 10 billion plus now. You know, you guys actually, it's hard to see some of the stuff that I see, but our early childhood reserves are almost as much as our budget right now. That's scary. That's not where the reserves should go. That's not what we should be doing with the money. We're not applying that money correctly. We're not doing what we should be doing with it. But to get back to your question, Mayor, there is no solution other than we've tucked so much money into different accounts that the goal, and if you can get somebody to actually say it on tape, you'll be a miracle worker. But the goal is once they've shut it off to where we have no new drilling in New Mexico besides the federal land, because they can't control that. Now they can slow it down through permitting, and they have by 300 plus days, is to live off of our trusts. The interest created by our trusts. Understand our state investment council only controls about a third of the total money that we need to have to actually offset our current spend rate. And the problem is there's 16 people on my House Appropriations Committee, and there's only about 3 of us that understand that. We don't have enough money in our state investments to actually get to the goal of shutting oil and gas down right now. There is no solution for the 8,000 plus employees in oil and gas revenue. We're just supposed to find another job for them. The downside of that is, like I said, we can't bring in the new revenue because we're not using the energy sources. Even Gavin Newsom understood that without natural gas, they can't continue. And that's why he put an executive order that put natural gas as a clean fuel. So you could get the carbon credits and you could do everything that you needed to do. You could start the carbon capture systems. You could put everything into place. We did bits and pieces of that this year. The microgrids that they're wanting to do in Las Cruces for the Borderplex and the new companies that are coming in there that realize that they cannot get enough power from solar, wind, bio, to where we can actually power the solar microgrids with nuclear, or with natural gas. It's a game.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Pettigrew. We appreciate, I know that it wasn't on the agenda, but it was good to hear some of the things that went on in this session.
I appreciate the opportunity. I would like to remind, and I know the city manager, Mr. Miranda, will probably reinforce this later. On June the 5th, the governor is going to be at the JC. There's a deal from 3 to like 7:30. From 3 to 6 is tables. Different department secretaries are going to be there, from healthcare to everything from our seniors all the way down to our veterans, all those people are gonna be there, the tables are gonna be there. There'll be opportunities for our community to be able to sign up for that. But there's also a town hall with the governor that night. I would highly promote being there. I'm not a big fan of listening to her talk, but it would be interesting to see that. And like I said, from 3 to 6, a good portion of our different department secretaries that provide solutions for everything from behavioral health to law enforcement to our veterans will be there, according to the flyer. They'll be there, and different people will be able to go through and have real conversations with people and be able to sign up for stuff according to the flyer. So if the flyer lied, don't blame me. So I appreciate that. And I would also ask Mr. Mayor and Commission that this is personal to me. Before I ran for this office, I sat on the EDC and helped push a whole bunch of different initiatives. There was a reopening the other night at the Lee Theater that I had no clue about. If there's a way that we can enforce with our different groups, the Chamber, the EDC, and Main Street, to keep your elected officials included in upcoming events, it would be really great. I don't need the recognition, but I'd like to be there to support my community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, brings us to our our public comment. This time, if you have something that you would like to address to the commission, please come to the podium. Please state your name, and then under 3 minutes or so, please tell us what you'd like us to hear. Mr. Sanchez.
Arthur Sanchez. I was here last week. I think I'm supposed to be on the agenda here. I didn't know for sure, but my granddaughter told me I was supposed to be here concerning the our church matter. So y'all were supposed to discuss it, and I don't know.
You are on the agenda, so if you want to wait until that moment, I don't think there's...
Did I get ahead of time?
Yeah, it's on the action item.
Yeah, it's in the action items.
Okay, so I need to sit down?
You got a long wait, Art, because
Yeah.
you're the last one on the list.
You'll be here about 10.
Yeah.
Well, I'll wait my turn, I guess.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? See no one jumping. All right, moving on. Brings us to our non-action items. Discussion seeking the commission's input on the monument design for the Lee County Veterans Memorial. I bet that's yours, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I think you all know Mr. Jeff Stewart of Planned Collaborative, the architect for the Veterans Memorial, Lee County Veterans Memorial. He's here tonight to, we're seeking to get the Commission's input. As you know, the Veterans Memorial consists of 7 different monuments representing each municipality in Lee County. And while each monument will have the names of those killed in action on one side, on the front side will be something specific to the municipality. And we're seeking input from the Lovington Commission for the Lovington Monument of the Lee County Memorial. And Jeff, do you want to?
Oh, sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. My name's Jeff Stewart. As David mentioned, I'm a landscape architect. I work for Planned Collaborative. And we've been lucky enough to work on this Veterans Memorial for the past few years. And David gave a really great introduction, so really what I'm here to talk about tonight is the components within the memorial itself. And you can see the memorial here. Go to the next slide, you can see this a little bit better, but those are the town site memorials that David mentioned. They're all the 7 towns here in Lee County. And we've got a really good idea of the monument stones, what we're going to do on those. for Hobbs, Eunice, and Jowl. But we would really like to see some input from some of the other municipalities or somebody related to that, just to know what is it that's authentic to that town and what is it that really resonates with that town in terms of the Veterans Memorial. Just to kind of go over what the veterans or these town site memorials look like. It's a 5 by 6 foot granite stone on one side. The back side, we will have the names of the fallen service members from that community. You can see on the lower right there, they're configured in a tiny little plaza underneath a shade structure. It'll have 2 benches. The back side will be facing the benches. The front side will have that sort of community-related component to it. Go to the next slide. Or I will, sorry. So for Hobbs, it's a pretty obvious, there's a really obvious precedent here. It was the Hobbs Army Airfield. This design here was sort of taken off of a matchbook. And it's going to be engraved onto the front side of that stone. On the back side, we'll have the names. In Eunice, an individual from that town that was in that, so we feel like that was an obvious thing to sort of commemorate. Jowl, similarly, there was a gentleman named Reginald Baird. He was a World War I veteran who was killed in action on Armistice Day, actually, the day of the ending of World War I. So we feel like that's a good subject matter to put on there. And speaking with the Jowl Historical Society, that they felt like that was one of the most noteworthy subjects to sort of put onto that stone. But as you can see here, we have Tatum, we have Lovington, we have Malchimore, and we have Monument. And we'll put the names on one side, but we don't really have anything obvious or anything that we're really getting that we feel would be just an obvious thing to put on the stone. So really what we'd like to see, hear from folks is what could go on here. As designers, we design things all the time, but for something like this, we don't feel comfortable sort of putting forth something that's supposed to be relevant or important to a community. We'd really like to hear that back from the community itself. So that's really what we're here for. And these are the monuments here, as you can see. Some of the possible topics we think about for these memorial stones are they personal remembrances? Are there newspaper articles? Are there quotes? Are there even excerpts from letters from loved ones to service members? Any of these things could be used as subject matter for this. So to kind of sum up everything, we really need to figure out a group or group of people that can help find these subject matters that we can put on these stones. And the other thing is we also talked about this, the criteria for your name appearing on the townside memorial stone. Are you killed in action? Are you killed during wartime but not in a war zone, for instance? And then which conflicts are we going to be including? Are we starting at World War I and going forward, or another point? So these are some of the things we just had some questions about during this process. And then again, what is going to be included on the front side of the town site memorials for Lovington, Monument, Malchimore, and Tatum. So that's all I have. I stand for questions, if there are any.
Question. Commissioner McKee.
Has anybody reached out to Lee County Museum? I know they have a veterans exhibit there.
We went to the museum and we took lots of information from there. We got some boats from there, in fact. And we're not coming up with anything just that's obviously standing out. I mean, obviously there's the Joe Byers room, folks like that, but nothing is really standing out beyond that. So we did do that.
Commissioner Bolt, we do have a Veterans Memorial Committee, but we want, David Minton, Tim Boydston, Carol Parrish, Dean Jackson, but we wanted to approach the commission first as the governing body to get your input and then take it to the board, to the committee, and just to get some guidance. It doesn't have to be tonight, but in the coming days. Make it unique to Lovington somewhat.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, because I understand, in my mind, it's not going to be an umbrella is going to cover everything. But just thinking on where the amount of service men and women were and what, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I understand that we have a lot of infantry people, just getting the idea on where the majority of our people were. I think that would be a good thing as far as putting something on there. But I said, we got to start somewhere, so, and it starts with ideas.
I wouldn't have a clue. I'm lost as a duck on this deal, because, this is something that would be shared between community members or people that took pride in, or, like the airfield, that makes sense, the certain person in jail that stands out. In Lovington, not that we didn't have a ton of people serve or different things like that, but as far as something that just, sticks out like an Air Force base, that's just wow, what a challenge.
Sure, yeah, that's what we were encountering, and not that we couldn't include somebody that we, for instance, Joe Byers or some of the other individuals that we had run across in our research, but we just don't want to exclude anybody, and we don't want to overlook anything. That's our main concern. So
I knew Joe Byers. I went to church with him for a while, and again, it's something that didn't click because that was not something that I dealt with him on his personal life. He just had a different experience there, so that's kind of interesting. So
I don't have anything for Lovington, sadly, but Tatum had a gentleman, when he was given a ceremony, it was a few years ago, I believe he was the oldest living survivor of the Bataan Death March. His last name was Wallace.
Wallace.
Yes,
okay.
And that was, I don't remember all of the aspects of it, but they did one of the services came down, and I'm trying to think of his first name, and I'm really struggling with his first name, but anyway.
All right. Okay.
We had quite a few Bataan Death March survivors from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be
like more than 5.
Okay.
I believe.
That's something noteworthy. We could certainly, as great input. We hadn't run across that, so thank you.
I don't know where to find that out from, but I remember going to a thing they did one time at Taylor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you're looking for somebody in Lovington that was a veteran, Mr. John Stokes, who passed away at the age of 102 years old, was a World War II veteran.
We have lots of veterans.
Yeah, that's it. You're looking for somebody for Lovington.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I just don't know how, and I'm not saying anything one way or the other. It's just with all the veterans that we have, how do you just put one person's name up on there to, my next door neighbor, Patsy Cunningham, she was a nurse. And great lady, you know. I'd be happy to nominate her name to be up there. I said she goes out, she does stuff for the community, still bakes cakes and takes stuff, and she's up there in age, so I mean, a great woman for the community.
I'll second it.
So, I mean,
Yeah, and, I mean, we're not just looking for one person necessarily, but it's just anything we can kind of get. But these are all some really good suggestions. I think we can, with these names, we can go to the VA website and maybe find some more information.
If you want to do like an oldest and youngest, do 102, and then Aaron Austin was our youngest.
One thing I'd like to say is that I know the board consists of, David, I think, is the only living guy that lives here local, but the rest all live in other part. Well, I guess Dean does too, but I just want to ensure that the voice of Lovington is heard and not just passed on to them and they make the decision. I mean, we've got, you know, we put a lot of assets and resources into this project as well. I mean, I know they did the final tab of the $1 million, but we did a lot of groundwork and kept this project going, and plus the property, but we purchased as well, and so forth, and plus the real estate, capturing all the real estate. I remember me and Harold going door to door. You know, there was a lot of groundwork in this project going, so I just want to make sure that Lovington has a good say in it, just not passed on to a board that makes a decision for us. I kind of disagree on that. So, because everybody, Hobbs has theirs, they're not going to make the decision for everybody. I mean, I think it'd be so I think it'd be fair for all the service people that serve Lovington in the past and present, their voices be heard.
All right. Well, that's a good place to start. We'll take all this under advisement and we'll keep working on this. We're just trying to get everything kind of in order. We really need to get the stones engraved pretty soon. We need to get those engraved probably by the end of, we need to know something by the end of June so they can be engraved this summer and be installed, so.
Junior?
Sir, are we appointing somebody to communicate with them? Is that what I'm understanding? So if we come up with names, who would it go to? Okay.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll go ahead and be seated.
Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, appreciate it.
It's a long meeting, I don't know if you want to stay.
Just gotta drive back to Loving.
Yeah, you gotta go back to Loving, yeah. Just
I'll take off here.
Mr. Tree, is there anything, I mean, we had our National Guard unit here for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Weren't you involved with that?
My
Your
dad was a
dad was.
battalion commander.
I didn't know if there was anything out of that unit that, stood out or whatever.
I mean, I was thinking, there's still people around.
Yeah, well, Lucia May, yeah.
Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Maybe they would know more, we would know.
Exactly.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Next item, renewal or change of terms of magistrate court.
Nope.
Oh, that's the one we took off. I'm so sorry.
You're supposed to scratch that stuff out, man.
That's a long time ago.
He was tired.
You're right.
He was tired.
All right, proposed hometown heroes flags on historic Main Street. Mr. Miranda. We'll just
Mr.
keep
Mayor,
up with the
Commissioners,
theme.
about a month ago, Mr. Vashon Robinson, a citizen and a veteran, approached myself and the police chief with an idea for giving tribute to some hometown heroes along the newly opened historic Main Street. He couldn't be here tonight due to a family emergency, but Teresa Grady is here to kind of present to the commission some possible ideas which other communities do have.
Good evening. Like City Manager Miranda said, Vashon Robinson is heading this project. I'm just stepping in. I'm trying to help out with it, but I've got a lot of stuff going on, so bear with me while I wing it. So this is what's going on pretty much around the country. It's a program, it's called Hometown Heroes. It started in Pennsylvania, and it's pretty much spread everywhere. Most recently, the last time I was in Santa Fe for training, I noticed it there. They have it pretty much all over the city along state roadways, city roads. And so this is kind of what it looks like. This is one from Pennsylvania, and they have it on every light in their downtown area. I want to pull up Santa Fe's. So they have the city of Santa Fe. It was run by their American Legion there. They ended up passing it on to the Knights of Columbus. So the Knights of Columbus built a new website. This is their website, and this is what we would do here in Lovington with the help of the chamber. We've already spoken with them, and they said that they would help us build a website and get stuff going. But it markets the people who help us, and that's what ours would look like as well. And then, of course, it has their information, and it puts out articles just to have people get more information. They vet their veterans. They go through a vetting process. They look at 8214s, make sure that there was a honorable discharge or a general under honorable conditions discharge. And then they go into having the local veterans checked in their local system through the police department, just to make sure that we're not putting anybody up there that's had some felonies. So we want to honor those people in the best way possible. What we were thinking and what's been in discussion is that we're going to approach, and we already have a few businesses on board. We want the Medal of Honor and Purple Heart recipients to be displayed without having to pay any fees. It's about anywhere from $100 to $250. And our Medal of Honor recipients, our Purple Heart recipients, we don't feel like they should have to pay. It's an honor what they did for us. So we're making sure that we have the funds available to do that for those families once they fill out the application. And then once they're taken down, then we would give those back to the families. So this is, like I said, this is the website. There are different poles that I put up here. There's the wooden poles, and then there's also the fancy poles that we put up downtown. It's still a work in progress. We still have a couple more places that we need to talk to. I don't know what it's called. What is it? The downtown. Main Street. Yes, Main Street. And there's the Lee County Commissioners that we would also like to speak with about it. But we're just kind of wanting to get the information out there to you guys, to let you know that it is something that we're looking towards doing, and we'd like kind of a yay or nay if you guys are thinking it's a good idea or not. But it's mainly a beautification project. It wouldn't run. We're not sure yet. I'm thinking mid-May to the week after Veterans Day. That way it's not interrupting the Christmas decorations and the lights and stuff like that. We approached the county electric. We're planning on attending a board meeting in the near future for them. But we also approached CNM today with the help of Chief Clark. He contacted CNM, Chuck Johnson. And he said he would be interested in doing this for us and putting it up, helping us maintain, and then taking them down when it was time to come down. So that's just, we're kind of trying to get everything together. We just wanted to give you guys a heads up right now, and then hopefully get this going and get it done. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but we just wanted to let you guys know what we were planning as veterans.
Teresa, would you be seeking to raise this by private contribution, or would you be coming to the city and the commission for money?
That's something that we're still discussing. I would not like to approach you guys for money, only because I know, working within the city, I know kind of where we're at budget-wise. It would be nice to have a running line item with you guys, like something, but I also know how to solicit, and I was planning on looking at soliciting local businesses to sponsor some of our veterans. Not only that, the families would be involved in, once they put the application in, to help pay for their banners.
Ron Price. A lot of the banners, we're hoping that we can, especially the ones that passed away and don't have any family members left, hoping we can get the businesses or something to donate, and if they do, we can put their names at the bottom of banners of the business. which kind of helped. So hopefully, we can get everything done without major cost.
Mr. Wood?
What about help having the American Legion, because I am with the American Legion, help be part of it?
Yes, and that is
And the
something.
commander of the American Legion is right here.
Nice to meet
We have
both
not
of you.
been, you guys
I
have not
haven't met you guys at all, so nice to meet you both. I know that Robinson, First Man Robinson did speak with, I believe, the secretary for you guys, and he was not available to make an appointment.
Secretary, we don't have
There's our vice president. I don't know the name. I don't want to speak for him as he's not here, and I don't remember the name, but he did speak with somebody who couldn't make an appointment in time for this meeting. But we will be talking to you guys.
Yeah, because we do have a veteran that we like to donate money for, and that was John Stokes. Because they donated money to us.
So we will be reaching out to you guys. I'll get your information so that I have it. And we will be reaching out to you guys to move forward at the time before this meeting. We're not able to make it.
Yeah, we passed, I was contacted about you guys, and I passed on our information, but we haven't heard any word from you guys.
Okay, so we're all busy, but I will make time to get with you guys because we do want to speak with you.
Yeah, because we are, to let you know, we are the only active military organization in this city.
Okay.
There's no other one here.
Just make sure you get proper permits and everything for poles.
Right,
And we
and
can
that's
electric
something
permit
that I
permission.
do have. I have the city of Santa Fe's resolution, what they had to go through. There's a lot of stuff that we still have to do. The city attorney has to be involved, planning and zoning. There's a lot of stuff that we still have to do, but I would like you guys to keep this in your mind. Of course, we don't want to continue if we don't have, like, maybe this is a good idea, because we don't want to waste our time trying to get everything together only to be told.
We need the support, definitely.
Now, as far as the signs, I don't understand that they're gonna be up there for an extended period of time. So how are the signs gonna be made, because the sunlight and everything else is pretty harsh? You don't wanna put it up there and have it a week later that you can't make them out, because I know some of the signs that are supposed to be permanent out there are changing colors and everything else, so that might be something that needs to be looked into.
I thought we could get with the high school, see, because they got a bunch of these out now, not for the veterans, but for their own. And being that they're blue, they fade really quick, so I'm gonna find out who they're getting and what kind of guarantees they'll get behind it, so.
So their program goes through display signs. That's who does it. There's several different sizes that we can order, but it's made on high quality vinyl. And so the coloring and everything, as far as I know, it lasts. I mean, Santa Fe, it's rare that they have to take one down, but if it comes down to, okay, that looks really bad, of course, we're gonna take it down just like a tattered flag.
And I just would recommend that they stand behind it if you're gonna see about them making it. Understandably, they are out in the same area that we are, so hopefully they would, but I'd say I hate to see money invested on an inferior product that, you know, we're putting it out there to celebrate people, and we don't want them to be looking bad and falling apart and everything else. So.
Yes, sir. And that's one of the things that it does say in the resolution about if it's starting to look a little tattered or whatnot, the city can recommend that it comes down. And it's part of Santa Fe's resolution, and it's, like I said, if we get, this is a good idea, we're gonna go forward trying to make sure that we pull everything that we need before we present to you guys in the future.
Okay, where would these be located?
So that's
Exactly
still,
what area of town are you talking about?
that's still being talked about. We would like to have it downtown on the pretty new poles that came out. But, you know, it's a matter of, I believe they said that belongs to somebody else.
The poles will be ours in the new area except for the signal lights. The light poles are ours. Lee County Lee County has already asked to use some of the downtown poles to advertise for the Bear Rodeo, and that would happen through the summer into August.
These signs can be turned inward or outward. it wouldn't interfere with somebody else's.
Okay, I just don't know if we want that many signs on our new poles. But I did suggest, because I did talk to him, about maybe proceeding in the south part of Maine, where, you know, there's a lot of building owners down in that area have tried to improve a lot of those buildings and make that south side of town look very nice
Yeah,
again.
we get the south side, north side, or Avenue D as well.
Yes.
So,
There's lots of areas
Yeah, we
that
gotta-
we
Yeah,
need to
there's
find.
a lot of areas, and it would be a matter of, just, yeah, the poles that the state has put up are poles, so once they turn the project over to us, they're ours.
And it might be something, like I said, it's not something that we can do this year. We've got a lot of legwork we still need to get done, but we would like to see it next year if possible. And then we would be able to talk to the fair board or whoever's and wanting to do it. Maybe we can alternate light poles or something for a short time period.
All right. Anyone have questions? Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next item is a discussion of the continuation of the Grab and Go program at the Senior Center. Mr. Murphy.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, about 3 months ago, I received a visit from a woman named Angela Porter. And she came in to say, number one, about what a great job Faye was doing at the Senior Citizen Center. She had just audited the Senior Citizen Center and received flying colors. And at that time, I wanted to kind of pick her brain about the Grab and Go program at the Senior Citizen Center, because that topic comes up every year as an additional cost in our budget. And while it provides a service, there are kind of two schools of thought as to the benefit versus the downside to this program. And as it's coming up to budget time and we were looking to cut approximately 7.5% from our budget, I wanted to kind of get the commission to discuss or consider it. Because as I'm told, we're the only municipality that still offers this. It's kind of a leftover from COVID. And the fascinating thing that Ms. Corder informed me of is that there's studies out there that actually prove that it's not the best thing for seniors. But I thought I'd ask Faye and Ms. Corder to come up today and address the commission. Kind of, you can see the statistics there about, for the past year, the number of in-house meals or congregate meals that we provide versus grab and go. Now bear in mind, while they're both the same, between $400 and $500 a month, we routinely provide between 1,700 and 2,000 meal deliveries every month for our seniors. So that would be an option as well, but go ahead.
Hi, Mayor, Commission, City Manager, and other city staff, thank you for having me. My name is Angela Corder. I'm the PSA 3 Regional Manager for the Non-Metro Area Agency on Aging. So we are the entity that provides, we're the stewards of the federal and state money, the legislative money that comes through for the senior citizens. And we provide training, technical support, and of course, financial stability auditing for the senior centers. So I did walk in, I spoke with City Manager for a short while, and we started talking about the Grab and Go program, and I did let him know that this is the only, not just municipality, it's the only senior center in the state. That includes all the nonprofits that is still continuing the Grab and Go program. I was also, a little background, I'm from Hobbs. I was the provider in Hobbs for 17 years at the Hobbs Senior Center for many years. So I do have a long background with the senior services. The Grab and Go meals were provided for our seniors during COVID. The state in 2022 said no more Grab and Go because the federal government was not going to continue to provide money for that. The Older Americans Act is where we get our federal money for the senior citizens centers for the nutrition program, and that stipulates the isolation problem that senior citizens have. And that is why the congregate meals are so important. It makes people get up, get dressed, get out, go see people, sit with their friends, maybe play a game of cards, maybe paint a picture, maybe play dominoes or pool, and socialize, and then go home. So the state, when the federal government said no more money for grab-and-go meals, the state, of course, took it back, and every other facility in the state of New Mexico went back to only congregate, and all of the numbers in their congregate meal sites are back to pre-COVID numbers right now. So I just want, those are just the facts. Whether you guys keep doing it or not is up to you. You guys provide all of the, there's no funding for it, so there's no reimbursement for those meals coming from the state or federal government. That is all on city money. So that is something to consider. So any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
And just as a follow-up, I think we budgeted $75,000 in city money for the program last year. I think Faye figured out that it actually cost $83,000 last year.
Actually, I think, but by the time the year's over, it's going to be, look at my numbers here. There it is. For this year, we're going to end up spending $104,636.42 by the end of the year.
And that's no reimbursements.
And how many people does that affect?
We're averaging, for the year, I'm looking at probably 5,377 meals with about 30 people that have utilized that.
My question is why are we doing it? I mean, you're sitting here telling us we shouldn't do it.
It was just a request.
Well, it was a state,
I understand that, but I mean-
COVID, so people can continue to get
Right.
food. When the state said no more money's coming through for grab and go, everyone pulled back but Lovington, and it was Lovington's choice to continue.
And that was under a previous city manager that it continued.
Well,
And a lot of requests from seniors.
Yes.
There were a group of, I don't know how many, that voiced support for it. The option is they can come in, as Ms. Quarter said, or they can always get the home delivered meals.
So
Yeah.
when,
you have to-
and I was the provider.
Wait, you have to qualify for home delivery. That's not a given.
Automatically put it
So,
in there.
so I was the provider in Hobbs when we did quit grab and go. And I had a group of seniors that wanted to just drive through and get their meal because it's super easy, right? But that really kind of delineates the whole isolation problem. And all of the people that, well, I'm not gonna come back, they all came back.
Great.
So they may be upset for a minute, or I don't, I want to just get my meal and go home and eat and watch TV by myself in my recliner and get stoved up and then end up on Meals on Wheels because I can't
Right.
move anymore. That's a problem.
Right.
And that's what we see across the state. So congregate meals is very important to keep
It's
people
very-
social and moving. Yeah.
And also on the congregate meals, the state gives us some reimbursement. So if we put them all, or if they go back all to congregate, then we're going to be paying less than what we're paying for the.
And can you get a to-go box if you walk in for congregate?
No.
I just want.
No.
No, that's one of the.
That's an older Americans Act thing also, because that is still,
We
they're
want
gonna come
interaction.
Same thing.
in, they're gonna get their meal, they're gonna go home, sit in their
Yeah.
recliner and watch TV for the
Right.
rest of the day. So that is from the Older Americans Act, congregate meals are for congregation, so.
Okay, Mr. Boyd.
I'm a former president of the advisory board of the senior center. Yes.
How are you?
And I'm still on the board. For over a year, I've been trying to get rid of the grab and go to get the people back into the center. We need to get them back in that center at all.
You have a beautiful center.
And people have been fighting me tooth and nail to keep it. And I've been trying to get rid of it. Number one, it's going to save us money, put the money back in the center, and get the people back into the center. Because I'm very active with the seniors center.
One of the reasons I wanted to bring this before the commission with an expert is because I think we all received a letter a month or two ago that was very well written and everything, but it presented the opposite view, so I just.
I understand. Yeah, I got that phone call.
Yeah.
It is all about the pants.
Yes.
It's all about the pants, I can guarantee you that. He says-
They don't want to wear the pants, they don't want to put their pants.
He says there's just days I'm not gonna put
They
my
don't want to get
pants
dressed. They do not want to get dressed.
Yeah, and like you said, he does deliver meals to other ladies and different things but like you said, there's just days I'm not gonna put my pants. I'm like, I don't wanna know that. But I will see what I can do, but you know, from a financial standpoint, we'd be silly to.
Well, I know
But he
for
will shoot
even
me.
myself, if I lay around and don't get up and don't get dressed and have nowhere to go, I get depressed. I get more reclusive. I get, start closing the blinds and, oh, my show's on. I can get there too. And so I think it's really important that these seniors get up, get dressed, and get out and do something.
Could I ask something?
I think,
Is it really gonna save money if those people are still going in and eating, it's the same amount of food?
No, we get reimbursement.
The
reimbursement if they go in.
It's the reimbursement cost of it. So honestly, the question,
Don't they get more with the grab and go? They get a weekend?
No.
Or is that just the delivery?
That's just the delivery.
Okay.
since we already budgeted for this year, if we decide not to do it, just January 1 would be the
No,
time.
No, July
No,
1st.
consideration
July
July
1st.
1st.
July 1st.
So we're-
I mean,
we
I
have to
said
make
January.
that-
I meant July 1st. I meant July 1st.
Yeah, we haven't
yeah.
done it yet. As a matter of fact, the proposed budget I sent you by departments.
have it.
Yeah.
Didn't have it.
I saw
Yeah,
it.
that's
And it
what
was
I
only
said, July.
75,
Right.
which in effect, it's a lot more.
It's 105.
Yeah, yeah, that way it gives them time to think about it.
I just wanted to put
Bob
on
bullets and
everybody's.
shoot me.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm sure when it becomes an action item, we'll have some discussion. Yes.
I had a couple of seniors contact me that would have liked to have it still go. But the thing is, it's not beneficial fiscally, but it's not beneficial for the seniors to be staying at home and not getting out. And I understand one lady said that the husband has issues getting out and that, so he comes and grabs it and takes it home and
But he can get on meals on Meals.
so.
Yes.
Not necessarily, depends on where they live.
Well,
My father-in-law didn't qualify because we lived too far out. We were like 2/10 of a mile too far.
okay, and that's something I can talk and see what we can do
And
about.
that's one thing
Yeah.
that, because I said,
But we-
everybody has different situations, but I agree that it should be back in the senior center for people to come there and pick it up and eat there and that, because that's the purpose of a senior center, to have people come and talk, communicate, and get out, not sit at home on the recliner, and so I agree with that 100%, but there are certain circumstances that
And that should be
possibly
a
need
case
to
by
be.
case.
I agree.
And, everyone is different, but if I know for a fact, if someone was coming to pick up a meal and their husband was at home or wife was at home that they're caregiving, we just put them on home delivered meals. And the caregivers receive the home delivered meal also. So that person that's caring for that other spouse did not have to come to the center to get their food. They got it at home.
But how does that
And
work
we've
if
done
you're
that.
not in the area? Is
Well, and
Yeah.
that, the service area is something that every senior center has, right?
Yes, the service area is set by you guys, not by us. You guys set the service area for your senior centers.
The only thing with that is though, we've got right now almost 70 people on home delivery.
That's a lot for this town.
And we have two trucks going out every day to deliver, because we split it in two different routes, just so we can have the ladies get back and actually help with the cleaning and or even serving the lunch meal.
Well, there's also time and temperature abuse.
Yes,
So
and
you're
that's
not
what-
allowed to be
over
out
2
there
hours.
delivering for 2.5 hours. If you have a hot shot truck, it's 2.5.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to deliver your meals from pickup to end in 2.5 hours. And that's per the Older Americans Act also. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I think from a staff standpoint and financial standpoint, it's no longer feasible to do it. We just got to be straightforward with it because GRTs haven't been looking good, and that comes from the support of GRT. And if it's not there, it's not there. We can't. We're supposed to do the right thing, and it's hard to do the right thing get people upset, but.
They'll only be upset, in my
Yeah.
experience, they're only upset for a couple of weeks and then they come back in because they want to see their friends and they.
You don't know this guy.
Then he's your friend.
Well,
And there's take him McDonald's.
sorry, maybe he'll know districts.
Scotty,
I doubt it. I doubt it.
take him McDonald's.
And there's gonna be people that aren't gonna come. I mean, there's just, and I understand, but I.
But they ought to
I
be
wanna help
thankful,
as many
they ought to
people
be
as I can
thankful
help.
that we've been able to do this for, up to this point, but it becomes a point where it's no longer feasible, if you look at the whole situation, and sorry, I mean, but I think it ought to be gratitude towards us as well for keeping this on board for 3 years after it should have been dissolved.
Yes, very much so. We were all amazed that you guys continued and continued and continued because it is a very big expense. And those trays, the Oliver trays, have gone up 25% in the last year. So, and everything, and the other part I need to talk to you guys about is the state for aging services is a flat budget. We are not getting any more money. They went with the governor's recommendation. We got $400,000 more than last year. And you divide that in 128 centers and see how far that goes.
$400.
So there it is. So you've got a flat budget.
And can I ask you, because
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
here,
Yes, ma'am.
I know in Hobbs you did the pre-made ready meals.
Yeah,
That
we
you just heated in-house and all that. They cook.
Yes.
Do you find that more feasible than cooking, or what's your
So
opinion on
there's
that?
pros and cons to both, okay, but I would do a catered program forever, because what it did is, we ran that entire center with 1,500 clients with 11 people,
And
and
you have
3 of them were
actual food
part-time.
cost you can budget that doesn't
Yes, so
fluctuate?
we went out to RFP, right? They come in and they say how much they're gonna charge us per meal. And it's like that for 4 years. It's that price for 4 years. And we pay $5, Hobbs pays $5.45 for each meal. And the University of the Southwest has Great Western Dining that does their food, and that's who.
It's really good.
That's who does our food, and it
Okay.
is fantastic.
They do great.
And they follow our recipes, they do everything. So they package it, they have the Oliver trays, they have the little machine that seals it, and they package it all up. All we do is drive up, load it in our trucks and go deliver. Then we bring Cambros and we load up the steam table trays, take it to the center, load it on the steam table and serve it. So our kitchen staff is 1 KitchenAid that's part-time and a lunch registrar that's part-time. Super simple, yeah. No walk-ins, no inventory, no food costs.
And that frees up people to work within the center with the seniors and
Oh, yeah,
not just the kitchen.
absolutely. Well, if you can free up some of your kitchen staff, you
Right.
can do another home delivered route
True.
with one of
that
those
too,
staff.
further out.
And go further out.
Okay.
So there's a lot of benefits to it. I would say the downside to that is you're not in control of your food quality. You know, I had to go to bat many times, you know, for food quality, better ingredients, because they were kind of starting to go cheap. You got to keep an eye on that kind of stuff. So, you know, but otherwise, it's way more upside than downside to a catered program.
But if we can keep that company here, that's a great company. They do
It is a
food.
great company.
I eat there
Yeah,
quite a bit.
yeah, it's a great company. It really is. And they were actually, because Clovis just started a catered program. The city of Clovis just took over the nutrition program there, and they started a catered program with Summit Foods. So,
Okay. Is Summit the one that does their community center as well, or do you know?
Summit does their senior center, but Summit also does their detention center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they had a really good one do the community center.
Yeah, it is the same one. Summit does their community center, their detention center, and now their senior center. So,
Fed us for a week. It was good.
Yeah.
It was real good.
All week.
And they accommodated pretty much every.
the municipal league was there, right?
Yes.
That's
They were
right,
there for a week.
yeah.
It was very good food.
Yeah, so they're the ones doing the senior center now. But they actually come and work right out of the senior center kitchen. City of Hobbs doesn't actually have a kitchen.
Right.
So, you know, it's an old school, so they just have the steam table type kitchen. Here, if you had Great Western Dining come, they would actually bring a crew to work right out of your senior center kitchen.
Awesome.
So, something to think about, something to think about.
Okay, thanks for answering.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome.
Any other questions?
questions I would love to answer.
Thank you for taking care of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Appreciate it. And participant,
At the last meeting, I mentioned what the EDC was doing a recommendation for $20 million towards their project. This is what's that agreement.
okay.
Which is for TV renovation.
This is a public hearing. Members of the audience, or if you have something for or against this particular disbursement, no one moving. So I'm assuming that no one has any input on this. And
30 seconds.
yeah. Discussion on this. I guess I didn't declare the public hearing closed.
Yes.
And
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for adoption of ordinance 610, PPA, and $20,000 of LEDA fund monies to TD's Barbecue.
do you have a motion?
Commissioner Bolt,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2025-033, approve advertisement of Main Street truck ordinance.
Commissioners, this is merely for permission to minutes that you have previously seen. The only minor change is it was previously the southern border and head east on that, and Crystal pounds off of our new Main Street. I don't know if you have anything to add.
Okay. I spoke with the city manager this week, and I really am trying to keep it out further. I'm a little worried about K, where it meets commercial. We already have Avenue R that takes up the beating there, the ramp, whatever you want to call it, to get onto commercial and Avenue K. They're both underwater.
Second or go up Love, and they're still gonna go around, and then that's more streets they're gonna impact. My thought was K would give them a direct out on those side streets to try to get back around where they think they need to be.
Surely we can handle that with some kind of signage. I don't know.
Sorry, that was supposed to be inside.
What?
Jumped
Down the
out.
middle of the road. We don't stand up on the sides.
We can always change it later.
I'm with you. I'd rather push it out as far as I can.
I just think we started
Such a
there.
slope on K, I'm afraid it's gonna just break out like crazy
Well,
where
it
a car
is.
can't even
I
drive
mean,
on it.
even Avenue R is already, and it's been no more than a year, if it's been that long.
Yeah.
And
At least that's flat.
Well, basically, what you're gonna end up having to do is just pass the ordinance, and then somewhere in our excessive budget that we don't have, plan ahead
We're gonna have to
for
start budgeting.
drainage and street to handle the road that's now, you know, dealing with heavy traffic. We just have to plan ahead, 5 years or so, and just deal with the pothole that we've been dealing with for 30 years or more. So, yeah, so we're just gonna have an issue that we know we have. Like you said, we can push it further out, which would be great, but unfortunately, in that side of town, that district, it's kind of problem child, late response type area already. So, I agree, it'd be nice to push everything out, but then again, you still have the fact that people can't read the signs that we already have in place, because how many tire marks are on the brand new concrete that's in the middle of the road, and there's a sign, I know, I've seen it twice.
Well, same truck turning right the other day when they're not supposed to.
I know.
We need to
So,
ask the sheriffs if they will help with that, because there was a sheriff right
They
behind
can't
me. and I'm like, pull
they
it
can't
over.
read the speed limit sign at the 45 at the cheese plant.
I know.
So whatever. So, sorry, that's the first.
Go ahead.
So, voice again. But, yeah, so I think it's something that, unfortunately, if we're gonna allow the one piece of property to be industrial property, that's probably not really gonna be developed for housing or anything else. You know, it's just something that we're gonna have to address at a later date to overcome the problem we created.
I agree.
We always got to keep in mind, bypasses choke a city. They do. I mean, if you see some of these towns that have created big old nice bypasses and the city dies. So we got to be careful we don't get too greedy, because then you don't have no income. I mean, everybody's just bypassing Lovington.
Well, then everything pushes outside, you got a nice little loop, because
But
nobody's
that's-
inside the,
That's
everybody goes out to the county to where the
But that's
loop
wishful
is.
thinking. I mean, that's, you know, but I mean,
Mexico.
statistically, it clearly state, I mean, you choke a city out. You got a bypass, everybody takes a bypass. Why go through Lovington? You got a nice bypass, they're headed to Hobbs quickly. And I'm just saying, sometimes you choke yourself out of you choke a lot of industry, is what I'm saying. That, just something. Not that I'm, you know, I clearly understand the point that we're trying to make, but it's just sometimes we have to think of this.
I know it's bad, but downtown, it's not.
All right, any further discussion?
The people that live there can
All right, Shannon?
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. All right.
Mr. Mayor, we'd like to make a motion for Resolution 2025-034, approval of quitclaim deed to Eastern New Mexico Housing Authority.
All right, motion and second for this approval. Any discussion?
Are ducks in a row?
Not a quick thing. That should be. Do you have any, she asked her ducks in a row, and I'm like, it's a quick claim.
We drive.
Yeah,
We don't.
we could give them a quick claim deed to Empire State Building.
Right.
It'd still be the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The things that are at issue, though, by giving them that quick claim deed, it takes off the table our ability to negotiate, you know, what happens with that property out there. Because that was one of the things that they were interested in talking about. So just so you know, we issue that quick claim deed saying whatever interest we have on that property, if any, we're transferring it to you. So they're happy with it. I was a little surprised they were, but they're happy with it, so that's okay. But it does take off the table our ability to address what happens with that land if they decide to, you know, have some other construction project, or if they do the construction project, so.
If we didn't give it to them, do we really have the ability to even have a say in any of that anyway? Because,
Well, I think when they were here last, you know, and they had talked about building some apartment buildings. It seemed to be a very unpopular topic. About the same amount of dollars, I think, would be spent on that as the Albertsons, you know, so there's a GRT issue we'd be missing out on. But I think they also had indicated that if they were gonna build, they would look at those properties east of the high school and get some input from the commission about if they wanted to see a park down there or some other type of use for that, because they would probably raise those buildings that they have right now. So I don't think it's something we would have some legal leverage on.
Right.
But I think it's just part of the, you know, quid pro quo on, hey, if we're gonna do this, and, you know, they may end up buying some land from the city also. So there's a number of things that get factored in, whether you like the idea or not, so.
Patrick, just one question. Okay, we do the quick claim deed. They run everybody off, and then the buildings sit there for 5-10 years and rot. What, do we have a say in that
Well,
anyway?
I don't think because of their state and federal mandate, they would be able to just run everybody off. I mean, their purpose is to provide low-income housing. So unless something crazy happens, I don't see them evicting everybody and just letting it become dilapidated. But we lose control over then what happens after, you know, if they do build an apartment building or find some other way to replace that housing. So,
If they've been operating for these number of years,
Right.
so if we don't do it, they can still continue to operate as is.
They could, but I think what happened was back when Charles Kelly was here as assistant city manager, I know at least two of you maybe remember, was Charles Kelly here?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, so that was his job, is to get this transferred over to Eastern. And Eastern kind of dropped the ball, Charles Kelly, I think, dropped the ball. Nobody really followed up on that. And so we do have an obligation, I think, to get it to that entity, to Eastern New Mexico Housing Authority. And unfortunately, the corporate entity that owned it at that time no longer exists. So we're doing the best we can. So, you know, it's not as if we are transferring something that they don't already have a legitimate legal claim to based on what the prior city commission has voted on. So. But I don't see them just deciding, we're not gonna maintain this property anymore. I think they've got an obligation to provide that low-income housing, so, and it's gotta be to a certain standard, so.
Since you have studied it. Oh, you know.
Resident advisor.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
will they be able?
You're my client, I'm your attorney, so.
Will they be able to obtain deeds to them?
Well, I don't think they're as concerned about, if you were a private entity and you were gonna do some more things there, I think you may be more concerned with a warranty deed or a special warranty deed. Given the circumstances, I think they're just happy that they're getting a quick claim deed to it. And I don't know what their source of funding is or what other ramifications that you might see with a private entity or a private individual getting something. If I'm going to sell you my house and I give you a quick claim deed, if you're paying cash, you might be happy. But if you're borrowing money, the lending institution might say, no, we're not satisfied with that. So they're happy with it. We sent them a form. Well, actually, they sent us a form, didn't really like it, put it on our own quick claim deed form, and, get it sent back. So that's the plan. But I just want to make sure you were aware, some of the issues that they brought up will be off the table probably.
I don't have any further questions. Anyone else? All right, Shannon, thank you, sir.
Mayor Roberts.
I'm gonna say no. Uh-oh.
Commissioner White.
You know what, I'm gonna say no.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe.
Yes.
I've got confidence.
Commissioner Bandy.
What?
I have confidence that you're.
Oh, yeah, we're going through with this, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not holding on to something we don't really have anything.
We don't have anything in it.
I mean, the only thing this thing has is our name on it, that's it. Lovington Housing Authority. It's like Lovington Public Schools, we have nothing to do with it. So, and now we really don't have nothing to do with it. Mr. Mayor, can we move forward with some more exciting stuff? How about make a motion for resolution 2025-035, approval of renewal and change of rates to H.F. Sinclair / Navajo Freshwater contract.
Okay, we have a motion and second for approval of this resolution.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, as most of you know, H.F. Sinclair / Navajo uses 3 wells using our water rights within their facility. They occasionally use some water from well 9 by common agreement on an as-needed basis. They've been paying a rate of $2.19 per 1,000 gallons. That is above our standard industrial rate. They don't use chlorinated water. This water is not treated. It never hits our distribution lines. And the current agreement expires at the end of this year. Navajo would like to renegotiate this agreement as well as the wastewater agreement we have with them. So while the new freshwater contract aligns Navajo with our standard industrial rate structure, it does represent a small loss in revenue. However, when the effluent contract is revised, that should more than compensate for this loss. And if anybody needs a breakdown of both of them, it's there.
So tonight, we're just,
This is just the freshwater, and then we're going to address the effluent contract.
okay.
Yes.
Sounds-
But this rate,
So that adds up to $217,000 a year.
but I mean, this rate covers the cost of operations, employees, repairs, damages.
Yes, yes, because it's not treated water, we don't touch it.
We pretty much just have pumps and electrical that we're paying for, plus manpower.
They actually take care of it.
Yeah, because
Oh, they
it's
take
in
care
there.
of
Yeah, it's all inside their plant, so they actually do all the maintenance and everything else.
Yeah.
So we just, okay.
It's our water rights.
It's our water rights that they use.
I think we put a couple new meters in there a couple of years ago, but,
Okay.
and,
Actually, I think they did.
maybe they did.
Yeah, they,
And when they use well 9, like we had a breakdown in well 9, it was $10,000, they split the cost with us, and they only use it sometimes. By my estimates, when we reconfigure the wastewater treatment plant or effluent contract, it'll be double or triple what the loss is there, so.
Further discussion? Hearing none, Shannon?
Excuse me, Commissioner Trujillo,
yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2025-1-036, acceptance of $500,000 of Lee County funds for Lovington Animal Shelter and baseball fields.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second acceptance of $500,000.
Mr.
Any
Mayor,
further?
Commissioners.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't figure you were going to need that.
Well, I just wanted to give you the breakdown.
Okay.
County recently approved a resolution to give the city of Lovington $500,000. $200,000 of that is from Commissioner Brad Weber for the animal shelter, temporary shelter that's going up. $300,000 is for our baseball and softball fields, and that was split between Commissioner Deanne Kimbrough and Commissioner Brad Weber.
Any questions? Discussion? Oh, Commissioner Bolt.
As far as we approve this, when does that happen, David?
I haven't received the check yet, but they've passed it, and they're usually, within a couple weeks.
So this money, will it be going to its own fund?
It should.
I want to make sure on that,
Yes, sir.
because going to that DFA meeting specified, there's no mingling.
Yep.
So I want to make it a point.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, Shannon?
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes. Mr. Mayor,
Gandy,
yes?
in your motion, could you please change that to 500 West Jackson Avenue?
500 West
Yes.
Jackson Avenue. I thought you were going to ask to have him arrested, I'm sorry.
We made him sit here all this time, so then we.
Yeah, then we just arrested him.
Yeah.
Not even, Art, not even. No way. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2025-037. Approval of quitclaim deed to Arthur Sanchez, 500 West, is that correct? Avenue, Jackson Avenue.
Have a motion second for approval of this resolution.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as you requested, Shannon went back and checked the minutes from 1981 commission meeting. She found them, and it indeed was passed unanimously. While we don't have proof of payment, because no one has bank records back 44 years, it did pass the city commission. Right.
You can buy some ice cream.
All right, any further discussion?
You were here then, David, weren't you?
Shannon, roll call, please.
Mrs. White?
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowe?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Mayor White?
Yes. You're all good, Art.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Commissioner White.
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Pay the bills.
Hey, let's do it.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So I know that the address is 500 West Jackson, so that's all of those lots together. Does that need to be specified? I even noticed in like the assessor's report that at one point it was like replatted and the subdivision name changed. I don't know who deals with like the description and all that. I just want to make sure it's updated and correct.
I can make sure that the quick claim deed's got the correct description in that.
Okay.
I get you though, yes. It'll be detailed in the quick claim. It'll go by legal, not just straight address.
You want to go home and take your pants off, don't you?
Please, none of us need those visions.
He's going to be that guy.
Yeah.
In the future, I have a feeling.
I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy.
We do not need that. Absolutely, Commissioner Bolt, I'm sorry.
David Bender, third one on the first page, Axon Enterprises. The police Axon LEPF May billing for $18,000. What are they for?
I'm gonna guess that's for our Axon cameras, tasers, or in-car cameras.
Yeah, they're, I think that's the one, storage of our cameras.
And municipally reimburses you?
Well, that's LEPF funded, so it looks like it came out of your grant, right?
Yeah. Municipally reimburses us for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Law Enforcement Protection Fund, right?
Okay. Page 4, that's for the WECO, I believe. Let's see.
2 cables and storage.
Yes, it has police WECO for $1221, and then at the bottom it has police WECO for $771.
That'd be the shooting range.
I'll have to look into that. Get it broken down exactly, because we have our phones, we also have all the SIM cards that goes in all our laptops that's in our vehicles. And all the police buildings. Let me get a breakdown, we give Rico and get a breakdown of exactly what that is.
Because there's usually 2 fires.
The SIM cards for the vehicles, those are authorized.
So that could be a separate.
Up $2,000 for Rico.
Yeah. Your waste management in New Mexico, we have 2 of them for $197,000. Is that for 2 separate months? Page 7. Fourth from the bottom.
Yes, sir. I don't think it's for 2 separate months. Normally, our bill is about $150,000 to $175,000, so.
Just wondering why it was broken up in 2.
I'll find out.
And the last one, I really don't want to bring up, but I'm going to bring it up again, because I brought it up at numerous past meeting, our Lee County electric bill. Did we use the pivot table again?
I'm not sure if they
Because
use
our
that.
museum is $7,000 for the month. That's a little odd to me. Because I got the previous month, and it was like about 500.
I'll find out about that, Commissioner.
You got the senior center for $55. Last time it was like 500 to
Yep.
700. So, I just don't understand how we can take and make good decisions with
Bad
bad
info.
numbers. And I mentioned before, if we're using a pivot table, we shouldn't be using it if we don't know how to operate it.
Okay, I'll find out, sir.
Okay, what is a pivot table? I gotta ask this one.
Nick designed this table where when a bill was really high, it would pull from like 3 departments instead of one to average the cost out, so one department wouldn't get hit this monstrous bill.
Oh, okay. I think it does it on a percentage basis.
There's a formula, Robbie. Data needs to be updated. All that needs to be put in, it needs to be accurate. And if you don't know what it is, you shouldn't be using
You
it.
shouldn't
And the
be
bill
touching
needs
it,
to be the
yeah.
bill, because we need to know if the museum bill is $2,000.
Well,
We
how are
need
you
to cut it
gonna,
back
how are you
by
gonna
something
budget,
else.
how are you gonna,
Right.
Yeah.
to me, that's just common sense, but
Our organizations, we should know exactly what they're paying.
I agree,
Exactly.
100%. And with this here, $7,000 for the museum,
Yeah.
add that on a couple months,
Yeah.
and then figure out,
Yeah.
geez, their electric bill was
That's
$30,000.
$84,000 worth of
Yeah,
unrealized cost.
yeah, I mean, you can't operate like that.
Patrick, on situations like this, if there's 2 or 3 items we have some discussion on and we don't want to approve them 3 items, is there some way we can address that?
Well, you could modify,
What the
Councilor
modification?
White's motion. If you could, she could come back in and change it, to approve except for items 7, 8, 9, or whatever that might be. What I think we need to take a look at is, are there time constraints on making those payments? So for example, if we said.
Well, I was gonna say, these are things already paid.
Oh, they're already
Yeah,
paid.
then if they're already paid, you can come back in and not approve it and open it up as an action item. Right. So.
I'm looking at things also, as far as stuff coming back to bite us, as far as audits and everything else.
Yeah,
and-
I think the other thing too, to answer the question, and I know we're sort of light in that department, but we could come back in and put as an action item or a discussion item, how to deal with that table, so.
Just hate to keep.
I mean, just.
I think I've already put that out there. Because to me, this year, our finances should be looked at by numerous eyes.
Yeah, and I think.
And to me, it's not.
Yeah, and I know, and it's not funny, but I'm saying, in the past, what we've done is put it on as an actual agenda item, rather than, this may be a question I get if I'm doing the finance report, but have it actually on there, the issue about how that's addressed, and what information we plug in, and how it apportions percentage-wise for the museum, or this department, or that department, so there's not a financial hit. That specific as either a discussion item or an action item, generally solve that problem.
Yeah. The best way to do it is just go back to the old pen and paper.
I agree.
And do it that way.
Well, I don't know how accurate that is, I'm not familiar with it, but.
Well, if you're just trying to make numbers match, I can make numbers match.
I
But
agree.
we want them to be accurate.
I agree, yeah.
So-
In order to give you a little bit better understanding what those numbers are and be able to plan and say, hey, we need to budget more here or less there, I think you're right. But putting that on as an agenda item or an action item, we're gonna discuss how this happens so that everybody has fair warning about it, rather than a question that comes up when you're reviewing the financial report. In the past, that's been a very good way to get that addressed.
You're good? Well, we're not good, but we're past it.
Clears
All
up.
right. Shannon, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Dan,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yes.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Yes.
All right. With that, the items of the agenda are exhausted. We're adjourned.
We're exhausted.
I didn't realize